The year is 1939. The Soviet Union and Germany invade Poland from both sides after signing a mutual pact. But that didn't do much to ensure peace along the Eastern Front. Hitler wanted Russia's fertile farmlands and the oil-rich fields of the Caucasus to build a self-sufficient Reich and to establish a base for future conquests. After surprising success on the Western Front, and only 2 years after the signing of the treaty with the Soviet Union, Hitler begins his invasion of the East, under the name Operation Barbarossa. The initial blitzkrieg saw the capture of vast amounts of Soviet territory for Germany and fueled Hitler's overconfidence as he ordered the Sixth Army led by Friedrich Paulus into the city of Stalingrad. Located on the Volga River, it was a strategic industrial and communication center. But also taking the city that bore Stalin's name was a matter of pride for Hitler. Unknown to him, however, the Soviet forces would mount their greatest stand here. Every Soviet citizen in the city were put to work on the defenses. Stalin would even issue a not one step back directive, ordering the execution of anyone showing signs of defeatism. On the 23rd of August 1942, the Germans reached the outskirts of the city and began an aerial bombardment, first targeting the Volga to break the supply lines of troops coming from the east, then targeted the rest of the city, turning much of it into rubble. German forces entered the city with their Axis allies and engaged in house-to-house urban warfare. The two sides were so close that they could throw back a grenade before it exploded. Every building and street was fought for. After 3 months of fighting, the Germans were able to capture 90% of the city. Leading the Soviet defenses was Georgy Zhukov, and he planned a counter-offensive against the Germans. His plan was to attack the weaker Axis troops protecting the German flank in a pincer movement to cut off the Sixth Army from their supply line. The outnumbered Axis allies were easily defeated, and Zhukov was able to surround the Sixth Army. As winter set in, the enclosed army was plagued by starvation, frostbite, disease, and even suicide. Friedrich Paulus and his officers saw the hopelessness of the situation and requested for permission to surrender, but Hitler wouldn't have any of it. His pride was on the line, and he would have the Sixth Army perish while fighting to the last man rather than surrender. He would even promise reinforcements to relieve the city, but they would never make it to Stalingrad. A few German planes managed to land within the city amidst the scenes of panic and took whoever they could. On one of the last planes to leave the city, a defeated Paulus would send his wedding ring back to his wife, expecting the worst. By January 1943, the Soviet troops surrounded the Sixth Army within 2 pockets of the city. Even then, Hitler forbid Paulus to surrender and preferred he rather commit suicide rather than be captured. But on the morning of the 31st, Paulus was caught. The rest of his army would surrender shortly after. 90,000 Axis troops were taken prisoner. Half of them would die on their way to the Soviet prison camps, and most of the other half would perish during captivity. Only about 6,000 would return home nearly a decade later. Of about the 1,040,000 Axis invaders, about 850,000 have been killed, missing, or wounded. And of the 2.5 million Soviet soldiers and civilians involved in the conflict, about 1.1 million of them would also be killed, missing, or wounded. Stalingrad had been the biggest defeat in the history of the German army and is often identified as the turning point in the war. After Stalingrad, Germany would never again win any decisive battles in the Eastern Front, and the Soviet Union would begin their unrelenting push towards Berlin, capturing the capital on the 2nd of May 1945, ending the World War in Europe and dividing it in two.